Order. Senator McLucas.
Thank you, Mr President. My question is to the Minister for Indigenous Affairs, Senator Scullion. I refer to the Minister's comments that Vegemite is a precursor to misery in many remote Indigenous communities, where the Minister has alleged that the popular spread is used to brew alcohol. Does he stand by his comment that children were failing to turn up to school because they were too hungover as a result of consuming the home brew? What evidence does the Minister have to support these allegations?
The Minister for Indigenous Affairs, Senator Scullion.
Thank you, Mr President. On the 20th of May this year, in the company of 3 senators, I attended upon Mornington Island at the invitation of that island. We took evidence from the police force, we took evidence from their justice agency, we took evidence from the health centre. All said that the current issues facing Mornington Island was because of the home brew, of which they described as being made from fruit juice, sugar and Vegemite. Now, it might be the case, Mr President, it may be the case that it's some sort of placebo that they didn't need, I wouldn't know. But let me tell you, the reflection from the month before, about 186 charges on 72 persons in a community of 750, the vast majority being home brew. Many were actually breaches of domestic violence orders, so they could again beat those people. Leave me in absolutely no doubt of the veracity that, yes, this is a serious issue and should not be made a laughing stock of. And the fact that I haven't continued to approach this and rebut the silliness in the media is because I do not wish to further stigmatise communities in this way in the media. And I am very disappointed that those on the other side have seemed to continue to pursue this matter as if it's a laughing stock. All you have to do is to look back, Mr President, in the media
Pause the clock. Senator Moore, point of order.
Mr.
Order on my right. Order on my right.
Yes, I am.
On my right. Senator Moore has the right to be heard. Senator Wong. Senator Moore, point of order. Senator Moore, you have a point of order. Senator Wong.
Mr President, is on direct relevance to the question. The question was focused on what evidence does the Minister have to support these allegations. There was no evidence.
Order on my right.
Your attention. Ask you to draw the Minister's attention to the question.
Order. I do not need assistance. Order. Senator Moore, there is certainly no point of order. Senator Scullion's opening remarks indicated where he got the direct evidence from, which was a direct part of the question. You have the call, Minister.
Thank you, Mr President. If I can just read a few, if the news and perhaps those on the other side would follow any of this. There was some concerns in November of 2009 that a fatal brew will be made. 29th of June 2010, yes, a man aged 40 died after drinking an alcoholic drink brewed from Vegemite on the island community of Gulf and Carpentaria. But the evidence, Mr President, goes on and on. I don't have time to get through it here. But again, the 2nd of July, an Anglican minister, Reverend John Adams, calls. He said he was so overrun with the brew that children as young as 11 are risking their lives drinking this potent concoction.
Thank you, Minister. Order on my right. Order. On my right, Senator Fifield. Senator McLucas, supplementary question. On my right, Senator McLucas. Senator McLucas.
Thank you, Mr President. I refer to the Minister's call to restrict sales of Vegemite in dry and remote Indigenous communities and the Prime Minister's statement that the last thing I want to do is have a Vegemite watch. Who is correct, the Minister or the Prime Minister?
Minister.
Look, the Prime Minister, as you have accurately quoted, as the Senator has accurately quoted, Mr Resident was quite right. He didn't call for a Vegemite watch, and nor did I. This was an unsolicited request from a journalist who tried time and time again, which has been recorded. She said, "Will you ban Vegemite?" I said, "No, don't be stupid. Will you do this? Will you do that?" We talked about the precursors to misery. We talked about detergent. We talked about restrictions on petrol. We talked about the great work that had been done by Calis in actually itemising normal processes of life like detergents and paint and other issues using other substances around chroming. But instead of that, like most you learn the lesson in this game of who to talk to and who not to talk to. I won't be speaking to that journalist again. And what I'm saying is I have never said that. I have never said that. And there is no evidence to say that I have said any such thing.
Thank you, Minister. On my right, Senator O'Sullivan. Senator O'Sullivan. Senator McLucas, final supplementary question.
You've got a few.
On both sides.
Senator O'Sullivan owns half of morning.
Senator Cameron, you have a colleague on her feet. Senator McLucas, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr President. If the Minister is concerned about alcohol abuse in remote Indigenous communities, then why has the Minister implemented just one of 23 community alcohol management plans for the Northern Territory since coming to office almost 2 years ago?
Minister.
Thank you, Mr President. Can I just correct the Senator? There were 23. Under your legislation, Senator, through you, Mr President, they were reduced to 8 because the others were non-compliant. I have not only dealt with one, I have dealt with all 8. I've rejected 7 and I have accepted 1. The reasons I rejected 7 are because most of those applications were rejected because they actually introduced more alcohol into communities. And I'm someone, Mr President, who has been on the record, and I'm unlikely to change my stance, that I have never seen more alcohol in the community help things.
Thank you, Minister.